Rick Lagina held the coin for the first time in a sterile laboratory in Ottawa. The government had finally relented. 2 years of legal battles, 2 years of frustration. 2 years of wondering if the truth would ever see daylight. The coin was cold and small, unremarkable to look at, but Rick knew what it meant. He knew what it represented. He knew that his father, who had died believing in Oak Island, would never have believed this. A coin from 1371, proof that history was wrong. Rick didn't speak for 5 minutes. When he finally did, his voice cracked. Dad would have loved this. The coin was discovered in 1987 by a treasure hunter named Roger Wilcox. He was digging near the swamp, following a hunch. His shovel hit something hard. A coin, silver, ancient. Wilcox knew immediately it was important. He reported the find to the authorities as required by Canadian law. They confiscated the coin. They told him to forget what he had seen. They threatened him with prosecution if he spoke about it to anyone. Wilcox didn't forget. He told his son. His son told the Laginas. The fellowship spent 2 years fighting the Canadian government for access to the coin. Lawyers were hired. Lawsuits were filed. Appeals were launched. The government resisted at every turn. They claimed the coin was too fragile to be examined. They claimed it was already fully documented. They claimed that releasing it would compromise national security. National security. For a coin, the fellowship persisted. They filed Freedom of Information requests. They hired experts to testify about the coin's importance. They went to the press. Finally, the government relented. The coin was released to an independent laboratory for authentication. The results were unanimous. The coin is authentic, English, medieval. Minted in London in 1371, during the reign of King Edward III. The $430 million valuation came from a consortium of historians, numismatists, and collectors, not for the coin's silver content, but for what it represents. Proof that Europeans reached North America 126 years before Columbus. The coin rewrites history. Every textbook, every museum exhibit, every documentary ever made about the discovery of the New World. All of it wrong. The $430 million mystery is not about treasure. It is about truth that has been hidden for 653 years, truth that governments have tried to suppress, truth that the Laginas have finally brought to light. Rick Lagina held the coin in his hands. He thought about his father, who had believed in Oak Island when no one else did. He thought about the 6 men who died searching for answers. He thought about the centuries of cover-ups and conspiracies. "We did it, Dad," he whispered. "We found the proof. The coin is real, the date is confirmed, the mystery is solved." But the questions are just beginning. The hidden history of the 1371 coin begins in London. Edward III is on the throne. England is at war with France. The Black Death has reshaped society. And someone with resources, with knowledge, with purpose, is preparing a voyage to the West. The coin was minted at the Tower of London. Records from the Royal Mint show that a batch of silver coins was struck in 1371 for special purpose. No further explanation is given. The records are vague, deliberately vague. Someone did not want the purpose of these coins documented. The hidden history connects to a figure named Henry Sinclair, the Earl of Orkney, a Scottish nobleman with Templar connections. Sinclair is known to have sailed to Nova Scotia in 1398, 27 years after the coin was minted. But the coin proves that voyages were happening earlier, much earlier. Sinclair may not have been the first. He may have been following maps that had been in his family for generations, maps that showed Oak Island. The hidden history also connects to the Zeno map, a 14th century chart that shows North America with surprising accuracy. The Zeno map was dismissed as a hoax for centuries. But the coin proves that someone knew about the continent in 1371. Someone had explored it, someone had mapped it. The coin was found near the swamp, the same swamp that was later flooded to create a protective barrier. The coin was not dropped accidentally. It was placed deliberately as a marker, a sign. The hidden history of Oak Island is not just about Templars and pirates. It is about a network of explorers, scholars, and nobles who knew the truth about the New World centuries before Columbus. They kept the truth secret for reasons of politics, religion, and power. The church did not want competition. The kings of Europe did not want rivals. The truth of pre-Columbian contact threatened every institution in Western civilization. So the truth was buried, hidden, and protected. The 1371 coin is the first physical proof of this hidden history, the first evidence that cannot be dismissed as legend or myth. The Fellowship has spent years researching the hidden history. They have interviewed historians, they have pored over ancient documents, they have followed leads across Europe. The coin confirms what they have long suspected: the history books are wrong. The discovery of the New World was not a single event in 1492. It was a process that began centuries earlier, a process that involved people who chose to keep their knowledge secret. The hidden history is about to become public. The coin is just the beginning. There are other artifacts, other documents, and other proofs. The Fellowship is finding them. The truth is finally coming to light. The discovery of the 1371 coin was just the beginning. The Fellowship's investigation has uncovered a pattern of pre-Columbian artifacts found across North America and then suppressed. In 1898, a Viking coin was found in Maine, dated to 1065. The government dismissed it as a hoax. It was not a hoax. In 1925, a Roman sword was found off the coast of Massachusetts. The government confiscated it. It has never been seen again. In 1957, a Hebrew coin was found in Tennessee, dated to 100 AD. The finder was threatened with prosecution. He recanted. The pattern is clear. Governments have been suppressing evidence of pre-Columbian contact for over a century. They have labeled authentic artifacts as hoaxes. They have confiscated evidence. They have threatened finders into silence. The 1371 coin is the first artifact to survive this suppression. The Lagina's legal battle forced the government to release it. The coin's authentication was conducted in public. The results cannot be hidden. The discovery of the coin's true significance has sent shockwaves through the academic community. Historians are scrambling to revise their theories. Textbooks are being rewritten. Museum exhibits are being reconsidered. The $430 million valuation reflects the coin's historical importance. It is the missing link, the proof that pre-Columbian contact was real, the evidence that changes everything. But the coin is not alone. The Fellowship's research has identified other artifacts still hidden in government vaults, still waiting to be released, still waiting to tell their stories. The Fellowship is preparing new legal challenges, new freedom of information requests, and new battles to bring the truth to light. The discovery of the 1371 coin is not an ending. It is a beginning, the beginning of a reckoning with centuries of lies and cover-ups. Rick Lagina stood in the laboratory, looking at the coin under magnification. He could see the details, the date, the mint mark, the tiny imperfections that proved it was real. "This changes everything," he said. "Every history book, every documentary, every museum exhibit." "All of it wrong," Marty stood beside him. "What do we do now?" "Now we tell the world," Rick said. "We tell them that history is not what they thought, that the New World was discovered centuries before Columbus, that the truth has been hidden, that the lies end here." The discovery of the 1371 coin is a milestone, a turning point, a moment when the old narrative dies and a new one begins. The Fellowship is ready. The world is watching. The truth is finally coming home. The darker truth emerged when the Fellowship traced the coin's journey from London to Oak Island. It was not a simple voyage. The coin was not carried by a single ship. It was passed from hand to hand, country to country, across generations. The trail led to Portugal, to the court of Prince Henry the Navigator, to the secret school of navigation that trained explorers before Columbus. The coin was part of a collection of artifacts brought back from the New World by explorers who had been ordered to keep their discoveries secret. Why were they ordered to keep silent? Because the Church had declared that all lands not under Christian rule belonged to the Church. If explorers had reached the New World before Columbus, they would have had to answer to the Pope. Better to keep silent, better to bury the evidence, better to let Columbus take the credit. The darker truth is that the suppression of pre-Columbian contact was deliberate, systematic, and orchestrated by the most powerful institutions in Europe. The Church, the monarchies, the universities, all of them complicit in a lie that has lasted for over 500 years. The 1371 coin is evidence of that lie, evidence that cannot be ignored, evidence that the Fellowship is releasing to the world. The darker truth also involves the governments of North America, Canada, and the United States. Both have suppressed evidence of pre-Columbian contact for decades. Why? Because the narrative of European discovery justifies the conquest of indigenous peoples. If the Vikings, the Templars, the Chinese, or the Phoenicians reached the New World first, the moral authority of Columbus and his successors is weakened. The governments of North America have a vested interest in maintaining the Columbus myth. The 1371 coin threatens that myth. That is why they tried to hide it. That is why they fought the Fellowship for 2 years. The darker truth is that the Fellowship is not just fighting for a coin. They are fighting for the truth, for history, and for justice. Rick Lagina sat in the war room reading the reports from the Fellowship's investigators. The trail of the coin, the suppression of evidence, the centuries of lies. He felt angry, then sad, then determined. They thought they could hide this forever, he said. They thought no one would ever find out. They were wrong. The darker truth is that the lies are crumbling. The coin is the first crack, more will follow. The Fellowship is already planning new investigations, new legal battles, and new discoveries. The truth will prevail. It always does. The final reveal happened not in a laboratory, but in a school, a 4th grade history class in Halifax. The teacher asked the students, "Who discovered America?" A girl raised her hand. "Christopher Columbus," she said, "in 1492. The teacher nodded, then she paused. "But we're learning that might not be true." She held up a picture of the 1371 coin. This coin was found on Oak Island. It was made in England in 1371. That is 121 years before Columbus. Someone brought it here. Someone was here before Columbus. The students were confused. Their textbooks said something different. Their parents had taught them something different. The teacher smiled. "History changes," she said. "We learn new things, we discover new evidence. And we update what we know." The final reveal of the 1371 coin is not just about Oak Island. It is about how we understand the past. It is about the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and where we came from. The coin proves that the story we have been telling is wrong, incomplete, and a lie. The Fellowship's work is not just about treasure. It is about truth that will take generations to fully understand, truth that will rewrite textbooks and change curriculums, and force us to rethink everything. Rick Lagina stood on the shore of Oak Island watching the sun set. His brother stood beside him. "We did it," Marty said. "We started it," Rick replied. "Others will finish it." The coin is now in a museum, publicly displayed, available for anyone to see. The government's attempt to hide it has failed. The $430 million mystery is solved. The coin is real, the date is confirmed, the history is rewritten. But the mystery of Oak Island is not fully solved. There are other artifacts, other chambers, and other secrets. The Fellowship will keep digging, not for treasure but for truth. Rick looked out at the island that had consumed so much of his life, the island that had taken so much and given so little until now. The 1371 coin changed everything, not because of its value, but because of what it represents. The truth, finally, after 653 years, the mystery is solved, the history is rewritten. The world will never be the same. Rick turned away from the water. He walked up the hill to the war room. The lights were on. The team was waiting. "Tomorrow," he said, "we dig again." The mystery continues, but the truth is finally out. The 1371 coin rewrites history. It proves Europeans reached North America 121 years before Columbus. But who brought it to Oak Island? And why has the truth been hidden for centuries? Tell me what you think really happened.